where I basically accused her of playing on my money. Security came over. It was... I don't like remembering this story. It is Sunday, August 20th, 2023, and on this week's edition of Sunday Sofatime, we're talking about forgetting things while traveling. The time has come. It is the last day here on board the Costa Smeralda. This will be the last video I will be filming on board, but it will not be the last video from this journey going online. The tour of my colorful cabin is already online, as well as my detailed guide to getting to and from the port in Barcelona, which includes some hotel recommendations and sightseeing suggestions. And coming soon from this journey, you'll see me visit some insanely crowded Mediterranean beaches on Ibiza and Sicily, tour the also very crowded and very colorful Costa Smeralda cruise ship, take you with me on the train from the Roman cruise port of Civitavecchia into the city and back, which was actually pretty easy. And that was the day that we got hit with that huge windstorm and the Queen Mary II cruise ship from Cunard broke free in the harbor and had to be rescued. That part of the video is also already online. Anyways, I just wanted to let you know that there are a lot of interesting and entertaining videos coming up soon. If you're new here, I'm Morgan from the very unofficial travel guides. I travel all around the world to popular and not so popular tourist destinations to give you a very honest, unofficial look at what it's like to be there. Nobody pays me or invites me to go anywhere and say anything is good or bad. I go there and I see it and I tell it like it is. And although I guess in some senses of the word, I would be considered like a frequent or expert traveler because I do so many trips in a year, you might be surprised to know that I still forget something almost every time. It's not something I'm proud of, and it's definitely not something that makes me happy whenever I realize what it is I forget. And by the way, there's one thing that I think I've forgotten probably more often than anything else, and I'm going to talk about that later in the video. Why don't you try to take a guess right now what it is? So if you're sitting with other people or sitting there alone, discuss, what do you think it is I always seem to forget? And no, it's not my water shoes. So whoever said that, sorry, you already lost. One of the first things that I seem to forget, and one of the most annoying things to forget, is some kind of charging cable or power cord, or even if you're traveling internationally, like I also do, the thing that you need to convert the plug to get it into the wall. Especially for somebody like me who has to charge batteries and make sure that my phone is charged so I can film what I need to film. It is so annoying when I get to wherever I'm going and realize I'm missing some cable or some battery pack or something like that, but I can't tell you how many times I've done it. Where are my cable and charger forgetters out there? Press the thumbs up, let me know that I'm not alone. Okay, here's another thing that I forget that is relevant to cruising that I forget all the time, even though I need it just about every time I'm on a cruise, and that is clothespins. Of course, if you have a balcony, an outdoor space on your cruise, you should never hang something up outside on the balcony, especially not over the railing, because you don't want anything to end up in the ocean. However, sometimes some people do hang things up over the chairs out on the balcony. And to make sure that it stays put and doesn't end up in the ocean, it's great to bring some clothespins so you can make sure it is like really stuck to that chair. But if you don't bring the clothespins, that's not gonna happen. And actually for a while, I had clothespins that I just kept in my suitcase all the time, but they're not in there this time, and I don't know why or when I took them out. Doesn't matter on this journey anyways, because I'm actually in an ocean view cabin without a balcony, and I've made a tour of this very loud and colorful cabin with some pluses and minuses. It's already online, so check that out in my library if you're interested in seeing more. But yeah, if you have a balcony, I highly recommend bringing clothespins, so if you choose to do what you're not supposed to do and hang up your swimsuit or a towel or something over a chair on the balcony to dry out, you can use clothespins to just make sure sure that it stays put. Here's another thing I forget on almost every cruise, and I wish I had had it on this cruise again as well, and that is binoculars. If you're cruising Alaska, if you're cruising the fjords, if you're cruising in the Mediterranean, it is so great to have a pair of binoculars, or maybe even, I don't know, like a little telescope or something, just because a lot of times you're cruising kind of close to the coast, and it's nice to look in and see what's going on. Also, in the Mediterranean, there are so often dolphins and whales swimming next to the ship, and it's great to have binoculars to look closer to them. I mean, you know what binoculars are for. I don't have to explain that to you. And it's great to have that ability to see things that are a little bit farther away closer when you're on a cruise. And we have a great pair of binoculars at home, and that's where they usually end up staying, at home. Okay, here's another thing that I have forgotten, and this was a really stupid thing, and I know exactly how it happened, but I once forgot to take any t-shirts on a trip with me, except the one I was wearing. So when I pack, I usually make piles of clothes, and then I put the piles into my suitcase, and I had the t-shirts all on the drying rack, because we don't have a dryer, we just air dry all our clothes. Saves electricity, better for the environment. I'm not dryer shaming you. I'm just saying we don't have a dryer. We hang them all up on this rack. And I had folded the t-shirts and made the pile on top of the laundry rack. And that's where they were when I got home, because I had my suitcase and all the other piles on my bed. And when all the piles were in the suitcase, I just figured,
okay, they're all in, I must be done.
And I forgot all the t-shirts on the drying rack. So have you ever forgotten like a large amount of clothes, like, I don't know, all your t-shirts, all your undies, all your socks? Make sure you let me know in the comments that you have forgotten something important and what it was. Okay, I have two more random things I want to tell you before I get to the thing that I have forgotten so many times that it's so annoying. There are two things that I have forgotten actually while I was traveling, and one is, I think we were in Kusadasi, Turkey, and I went to a cash machine to get, is it Turkish lira? And I left my card in the cash machine. Really stupid thing to do in a foreign place. Well, it's a stupid thing to do anywhere. But yeah, so I got the Turkish lira and lost my bank card. Usually, if you leave it sitting in there and nobody else comes, the machine will suck it inside and the bank will send it to you. I don't know what happened to mine. Then I had the stress of having to call my bank, make sure there was no fraud, getting it canceled. So yeah, don't do that. And actually, there's another time that I have let money disappear by leaving it sit there, and that was in Las Vegas. Marcus and I were in the Tropicana. We were playing on these two Star Trek machines. Mine wasn't doing anything with me, and I got so frustrated. Marcus was having a good time. He's a big Star Trek fan, so he kept playing. And what I did is I just stopped playing my machine, but I never cashed out. And I sat there for another 20 minutes or so for another pina colada until Marcus decided he was done. Then I just pulled my card out. We got up, we walked out of the casino, and it wasn't until we were back out on the street that I thought, I still had over $50 in that machine. So I went running back into the casino, and of course casinos are built so that they're not easy to find your way out of once you get inside, and it took me a while to find the Star Trek machine. There was another woman sitting there. There was a really uncomfortable conversation where I basically accused her of playing on my money. Security came over. It was, I don't like remembering this story. I tried to stay cool, and I just said, okay, well, you know, I'm sorry, but I had over $50 in this machine. You're sitting here now, and that's why I'm a little suspicious. I'm very sorry if it wasn't you. And security said, okay, so she can stay there and continue playing until they figure out what's going on. You know, it's Vegas. They don't care if she keeps spending money, even if she's a criminal. And they took me to the other side of the casino while somebody went and checked the security tapes, and they told me they saw the person that took it, and that person is probably long gone by now, and that there's nothing they could do for me. So that was another time that I forgot something, namely over $50 in the machine, and made somebody's day. All right, now I want to tell you the thing that I have forgotten the most, and it's always so annoying, and that is my toothbrush. I cannot tell you how many times I've forgotten my toothbrush. And you might say, well, Morgan, why don't you just have a toothbrush that you leave in your, like shaving kit all the time? And the reason I don't is because in between trips, I feel like it gets moldy. So I always like to bring the toothbrush that I'm actively using at the time because I just feel like it's cleaner. I don't know. Does that make any sense? And because, of course, I always want to brush my teeth the morning before I go to the airport, I don't pack my toothbrush. I leave it sitting there, and it doesn't matter what I do to remind myself to not put the toothbrush back in the cup on the sink, to remind myself to bring it with me in any form. It doesn't matter what I do. I still forget it all the time. I can't tell you how many times I have brushed my teeth with Q-tips or a finger until I've gotten the chance to go out and buy some random toothbrush in some foreign country. You know how there's like these little clips that you can buy for kids so they don't lose their mittens or gloves? It's so it like hangs off their wrist. I need to make something like that for my toothbrush and clip it on the night before I have to leave on whatever trip I'm doing. That'll help me remember. All right, like I said, I want to know what are some fun, funny, or frustrating things that you have forgotten or seem to always forget when you're traveling. How did it affect your plans? Did it lead to anything funny, or did it lead to any sort of disasters? Let me know all those things in the comments below. And if altogether you enjoy hearing stories about things going right and horribly wrong while traveling, check out my book called Getting Stitches on a Cruise Ship. It tells about my life before I started doing what I'm doing now, and then there are 10 true stories of crazy things that have happened to me while traveling, like when I got caught with a knife in my bag at airport security, and that wasn't the worst thing in my bag. So if you want to get a short, fun book to read and show me a little bit of extra support, check out Getting Stitches on a Cruise Ship. It's available on Amazon now. Like I said, it's my last day on board, so it is time to pack up my bags. Hopefully I won't forget anything in this cabin. And then I'm off to visit Collie, aka my bodyguard, in Munich for a few days before I fly back up to Hamburg. Thanks for spending this part of your Sunday, or whatever day it was you watched this, with me, and I hope to see you back here soon on the Very Unofficial Travel Guides. Bye-bye.